Shifting the mindset around health. Let's talk about this because it's really important for you to move forward in your health and wellness decisions as you move into 2022. It's easy to say or to set goals, but it also takes a little bit more than just setting a goal. Sometimes we have to look at why haven't we been able to achieve this goal in the past. And so for the most part, it has a lot to do with the way we are thinking. The shift, we have to shift the mind. So let's dive right into that. And so let's take a look at our actions when we are feeling stressed or sad, or even when we're feeling happy or excited. When you're feeling stressed or sad or happy, ask yourself, does that trigger you to eat foods that you normally would not eat? For example, you had a situation happen where it wasn't as, favorable as you like. And so, that energy shift, you know how it feels, that energy shifts. And so now you're going home and you have to either do one or two things. You can continue to have that feeling that you're experiencing, or you can just shift it and take it back. So it's going to be up to us, right? But sometimes these triggers, they do create certain emotions, and that emotion may be, I'm feeling sad, I want to be comforted, I'm feeling angry, I want to take it out on someone or something. And so what you normally do, maybe, you order up some fried fish, you order up some fried potatoes, you fry up some mushrooms, you do some things that you say you normally wouldn't do. And so this is what we want to do. We want to shift the way we think about how we approach, these triggers, how we handle, I should say, these triggers. So are you open to the possibility of choosing new habits or actions that create healthier outcomes, all while satisfying that need that makes you want to eat foods that you normally wouldn't eat? So again, are you open to creating some new habits so that when you are feeling, these emotions, anger, sadness, just, fear, whatever that emotion is, are you willing to do something different, all while nurturing that emotion? Because that emotion is there, it's real. And if in the past you nurtured it through indulging in foods and things that you never or you rarely indulged in, then that emotion needs to be still acknowledged. And then we want to still address that emotion, but in a nurturing and loving way instead of a self-sabotaging way. So there is an emotion that is attracted or attached, I should say, to that trigger, and it leads to an action. And so what we need to do is identify that emotion and nurture it again in a healthy way. So if you had that rough day, and you thinking of, I want to do something that I normally would do or I wouldn't do, but instead, we want to acknowledge that you had a rough day. And when you know and see yourself going down that path where you're trying to soothe yourself with something that you normally don't do, eating fried, greasy foods, maybe drinking alcohol or indulging in other behaviors that are self-sabotaging, you want to now take a moment, instead of you following down that bunny trail, take a moment and say, you know what? I acknowledge I had a pissy day today. Something happened that I just don't like today. And, this thing got me feeling some kind of way. I'm feeling like I just want to go get some fish and chips, a beer, or whatever it is that, you find yourself wanting, a piece of cake, a cupcake, whatever it is, a hot cup of Java that you normally don't drink, whatever it is. And so what I want you to do is, yes, acknowledge that, but then I want you to do something. Instead of you being a victim to your own emotions, I want you to arrest that emotion, examine that emotion, and see what you can do to nurture and make yourself feel good, but not falling falling down the trail or the traps that you normally fall into. So you are fully aware of how you're feeling, but at the same time, what I want you to do now is I want you to create a new habit that is healthy, that still allows you to, one, address how you feel, but two, it's going to allow you to create a better action instead of it being self-sabotaging. So instead of grabbing that bag of chips, grab your journal book, grab your pen and your paper, and begin to write how you feel. Begin to express yourself in a way that is going to allow you to nurture, acknowledge, and nurture that emotion, all while creating something new, a new, healthier habit that's going to give you a better outcome. Yeah, you may want to just get up. When you start feeling that kind of way that you know is taking you down a path that you're familiar with the path, you can say, you know what? I'm going to just throw my sneakers on. I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to ride my bike. I'm going to sit outside in the sun. I'm going to just go sit on the park bench and just breathe in fresh air. Just take in some sun rays. Do something that is going to, one, acknowledge how you feel. You cannot ignore how you feel. We can't continue to sweep our emotions under the carpet. So we want to acknowledge, right? But at the same time, we want to just create a healthier reaction to these emotions. So one, yes, we want to uncover the emotional needs and address how they're going to be met. Awareness. This is the most pivotal thing that can be done to become fully aware of who you are, what emotions are you emotions you're needing met, and uncovering what your standard habits are. It's so important to become familiar and aware with who you really are. So it's no time out for ignoring how we feel and who we are. So it's number two is in the self-sabotage. These thoughts and words of the negative self-talk are impacting your subconscious, which is believing them. The mind is powerful to be true, even if they're quite absurd. Your mind will begin to believe what it is you're saying. So as you're eating that fried, greasy food and you're saying, you know what, that whole thing pissed me off, and you just stay in the rage, you stay in that moment, or you just you reassure yourself that what was said about you is true, and you stay in that moment. And so you have to end the self-sabotage. These thoughts and words of the negative self-talk, they're impacting your subconscious because your subconscious is actually believing it. So practicing awareness and then replace those with positive self-talk to help your body experience self-freedom. And so instead of you saying things like, I you know what, I probably that probably was true. I probably ain't shit. I probably am doing things on purpose. Or, this food is making me feel so good. I'm just going to continue to just eat until I eat this whole thing. Because after all, I'm not worth nothing anyway. You have to end those conversations with yourself and begin to say things like, you know what, that's what they think about me. I don't have to live up to anybody's standards of what they think about me. I know who I am. I love myself. And you know what? And take accountability to how you are feeling, and then change and challenge yourself to instead pick up the fork, put on your sneakers, do something different. Instead of pick up the frying pan and load it with oil, put something in your steamer. Eat a head of lettuce instead. Make a fresh salad. Make a smoothie. Do something different. Break the cycle. That's what you have to do. You have to break that cycle. And then three, we want to. The truth is we all have trauma. We all have trauma. But as long as we suppress it rather than deal with it, our body will constantly be pulling that out of our unconscious filing cabinet, and we'll be acting on it regardless if we're thinking about it or not. It's like you're going to be moving in a way like a robot. You're just going to be going about life doing what you just subconsciously unconscious actions because it's planted in your subconscious mind. And so you're just going to tap into it and you begin to act on it, regardless, again, of if you're thinking about it or not. So that's the power of the unconscious mind, to change this and allow your body the freedom to act in love and positivity. So what you can do is you can arrest that. You can arrest that thought, and you can change. You can change, what you're thinking. You can change the actions that you're taking. So understand the power of choice. There isn't much in life we can control, but our thoughts are one thing. You can change the thinking. You can change how you relate to that situation. And so how we relate, view, and act, the situations in life affect our outcome. And so how you handle it, how you handle that situation is going to greatly impact your life. And so if it can, excuse me, if it can greatly impact your life, then that could be a positive. Instead of us self-sabotaging it, take that energy that you have right there, that energy that's creating that emotion, and instead of flooding that emotion and that in those triggers with negative actions, you can take that same energy and start creating healthier actions. So with that same energy that can usher you into a self-sabotaging situation, you can take that same energy, flip it, and let it usher you into new, healthier habits. So understanding your power of choice. So we have to reprogram the mind with awareness, focus, and repetition in order to create this shift and reprogram your mind. So you must be willing to go deep and dig deep up, dig up past trauma, deal with it, and then learn how your emotions, learn to use your emotions to your advantage. So if you discover some past trauma that when you get angry, you feel like you need to eat, or you feel like you need to do things that you normally wouldn't do. Maybe you want to indulge in alcohol or do things that you are even more self-sabotaging. You have to first, be willing to go deep. What is it? What is it that's really going on right there? Why? And then you might discover that when you were younger, someone said things to you that sounds similar to what, just took place today, because they're trying, at that time they were trying to crush your spirit. And so you identify someone that's coming against you as with that same energy as they're trying to crush you. So you want to identify that past trauma. And if you dig deep and you realize, okay, when I was younger, maybe my mom said these things, or my caregiver said these things, or my sibling did these things. Okay, you don't have to remain a prisoner to that, because you can switch that all around by acknowledging, okay, what was said to me, was hurtful, was not true. And I don't have to stand in someone else's truth of me. I refuse to walk in that again anymore. No longer is that emotion going to hold me captive. And so when someone triggers it, it's not taking you back to when you were just a child. You're going to address it from where you are in a healthier mind, where it doesn't bother you, because you're not what they say you are. And so it leads you down a whole different journey when you can do that. And so it takes a little work, but it can be done. And so these three things we are needed in order to create the paradigm shift. Awareness, and we just talked about that. Focus, staying in the present and living in the moment to allow yourself the space to really feel and live. And so instead of going back to when you were a victim of circumstances, stay in the moment. That person doesn't have anything to do with what happened when you were a child. What is being said today doesn't have anything to do with what was said when you were, yesterday, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So stay in the moment and allow yourself to feel and respond appropriately and not go way back. Then we have to be repetitious about this, constantly repeating the positive and allowing yourself to feel that, making it the natural default pattern of your mind. And so continuing to say the opposite of maybe what was said to you, and saying it in such a way that you actually are feeling that effect. Excuse me. The same way that energy you feel when when it's triggered, when that emotion is triggered, and it takes you back to when someone was belittling you and making you feel like you were not enough. Then you're going to now continue to repeat positive self-images of yourself, positive reinforcements of yourself. So instead of saying, you know what, it may be some truth to what they were saying. I never been able to get it right. I'm always, missing it. I'm not hitting the mark. I'm not living up to my full potential. Instead of you feeding into that, begin to say, I am wonderful. Everything that I'm doing is getting me closer to my destiny. Everything that I'm thinking and doing is helping me achieve my goals in life. I see myself doing great things. You have to repeat that ongoing because, we have repeated so many negative things. So we now are having to repeat these positive things and reinforcements in such a way that they become a normal default, so that when something is triggered in you, instead of it being a trigger that takes you down a negative path, it could be a trigger that you now are saying, I know that's not true. Let me go get my headphones on and listen to my music and go for a walk. I ain't got time for this mess. As you will begin to move in a whole new light, a whole another path, instead of going down that old path that led to self-sabotaging behaviors. And so overall, our mindset matters a whole lot when it comes to every area of life, including our physical health. Don't underestimate the importance of getting your mind right and cultivating a healthy attitude and perspective. I hope that you guys took something in from this session today, and I look forward to seeing and hearing how you have been able to shift the mindset around health and how it has helped you achieve your goals concerning your health and wellness as we move into 2022.